Hey everyone, welcome to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. Comic-Con week is over, so we can finally take a breather and take in all the awesomeness and let it just sink in. A lot has happened, so I'm going to go ahead and try to cover what has happened at Comic-Con, specifically the Flash Season 4 Episode 1. So without further ado, let's break this down. So what I wanted to cover mostly is the origins of the Thinker, the main villain of the season. Wally West taking over as the Flash at the start of the season, why he's wearing the red costume, and basically how that ties in with the Flash Rebirth and Flash Point. They're not exactly doing Rebirth, but the CW is essentially borrowing aspects from DC Rebirth and kind of using that for when Barry Allen comes back. It's sort of a wink-wink reference of the Flash Rebirth comic that came out back in 2009, where Barry Allen comes back and he reclaims his Flash title. We know he's going to come back mainly because the actor that plays Barry Allen, Grant Gustin, is contractually obligated to play the Flash for 7 seasons. So let's first start with the Thinker. Who he is, where he comes from, how his powers work, and what's his purpose. It was really exciting news to hear that we're going to be getting a non-speedster villain, since pretty much every season has featured a speedster villain as the main antagonist of the season, with other villains of the rogue galleries making appearances here and there. From my point of view, if the Flash TV series was going to feature a speedster as the main antagonist for every season, the show would start to get stale and everyone would just get tired of it. Just letting you all know that there are more than one Thinkers that assume the title, and there are more than one interpretations of the Thinkers spanning from different Earths. I'll leave my theories as to which Thinker they're going to be using for the show and explain why I think they'll be using said Thinker. So Clifford DeVoe, the primary antagonist of the 4th season, was born in the year 1910 and comes from Keystone City. He displayed high IQ levels at an early age and eventually became a DA around 1930 and failed miserably in 1933. Soon after the failure of his career, he relocated from Gotham City and started a career in the criminal world and acted as the brains behind small-time villains. He's had several encounters with the original Flash, Jay Garrick, and has been defeated several times by the Flash throughout his criminal career. He has always sought out new technology and used tons of them to commit crimes, specifically his mental cap, or as it's called, the thinking cap, literally, which is basically a mental hat that can project mental force towards his enemies. The Thinker has had many affiliations with specifically the Injustice Society, and I'm kind of hoping the Thinker does branch off to other shows in the Arrowverse, mainly in DC Legends of Tomorrow. I believe they can work out a good storyline like that. It creates a perfect opportunity to make another crossover with the Flash, the Justice Society, and the Legends themselves. In recent years, the Thinker has accepted missions with the Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. Years later, after so much exposure from the thinking cap, DeVoe developed cancer. The Thinker refused to be saved from the original Flash and preferred to rest in peace. That's the condensed version of the Thinker, but like always, the CW tends to make changes for the sake of originality or simplification, especially since there are a fair amount of viewers who don't read comics, so expect that from the show. As for how the Thinker's powers work, you can imagine the Thinker's appearance gives you that look of having something to do with technology, mainly computers. That's because he has the ability to hack into complex systems, he has genius level intellect, and of course has practiced law. The equipment he uses most notably are his thinking cap. He has telekinesis and mind control powers. As for which version of the character they're going to use, I'm not sure because there are different versions of the Thinker from different Earths. You have the Thinker from Prime Earth. For those of you who aren't familiar with comics or DC Comics in general, the multiverse plays a big role, especially in the Flash TV series. Prime Earth is the merging of the disparate DC, Vertigo, and Wildstorm universes. It was an effort by Pandora and the Flash to restore the timeline to its intended nature, in which later it was revealed to be an unknown entity manipulating the timeline. So basically, this is the time where costume heroes became a new phenomenon, with Superman making his first appearance, and so since then several other heroes became known to the public and thus eventually forming the Justice League. That's how you can tell that the DCEU is loosely borrowing from the New 52 Prime Earth Superman. He was the first to be known to the public, others are making themselves known, and now we're at the point where the formation of the Justice League is coming to fruition. But that's a video for another time. As for New Earth, it was the mainstream reality of the DC multiverse, which started during the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline and ended with Flashpoint. You see how we're going back to Flashpoint? It's such a pivotal and important storyline that this storyline in particular keeps getting revisited in the new DC Rebirth comics. You can certainly feel the ripples and effects of that story in modern DC Comics, so those were a couple of examples of the Thinker from different Earths There's even an Earth 2 Thinker, but I'm not going to get into that since I highly doubt they'll use him. If you remember back in Season 3, Abacadabra briefly mentions DeVoe, aka the Thinker, by name right after Barry Allen begged him to give any information on Savitar and how Savitar has broken Barry Allen.
You've come to see me off? I'm really touched.
What are we gonna do here?
You're going with her. I'm not gonna stop her.
And you'll never find out what you want to know.
I have nothing to offer you. No reprieve. No escape for what you're facing. You've done some terrible things. But you are still a man. You have a family. Friends, people that you care about. Somewhere inside of you there must be a glimmer of light, of hope. It's that part of you that I'm asking. I'm begging. Help me save her.
Flash. Begging. See, here it is. In the future, you and I have been enemies for years. Oh, there have been others. Of course. There's Dawn, Zoom, DeVoe. But none of them hurt you like Savitar. He truly broke you. I have to be honest. I was always a little bit jealous. But now, it's like I get to kill her too. If you'll excuse me, I have my execution to attend.
Where does this leave us?
I don't know.
Does this go on?
And as for how this ties in or even references Rebirth, it's just like I said, the first episode is titled Flash Reborn, which is sort of a soft reference to Flash Rebirth. During that time, in Barry's absence, Wally West assumed the title of the Flash, which is why you see him wear the red costume until he finally comes back, and to be able to distinguish the two Flashes, Wally West's costume gets a redesign with a darker shade of red and a different lightning symbol. It's this one right here. As for which Thinker they're going to be using, I'm leaning towards Prime Earth version versus the New Earth AI, mainly to save money because the AI version requires tons of special effects to get that look right, and I think the CW is going to go towards the practical effects route, which I'm fine with because honestly, if I saw this in real life, I'd be horrified in some ways, and it'll be pretty awesome since it'll bring out the best in the makeup effects crew. Lastly, I think his point of origin is going to be from another Earth, since they're not going to be able to say that the Thinker is from Gotham because Fox has the rights to it. So they'll most likely change it up a bit and make it seem like Jay Garrick's Flash has been chasing him around, causing DeVoe to relocate to Earth 1. At least that's what I'm predicting. It's going to be fun. Alright everyone, that was everything I have for you on The Flash Season 4 Episode 1, the Thinker's origins, and info on the Flash Rebirth / Reborn episode. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode. I'll try to make more of these types of videos with excruciating details in the near future, I promise. Especially for those of you who are fans of comic books or comic book TV shows, or for those who are interested in comics and want to seek information on comic books elsewhere, and YouTube is the best place to do it. Alright everyone, don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you all in the next comic panel.